There are moments when life feels like it's deliberately testing you, when chaos erupts, when people betray you, when everything you've built starts to fall apart. And in those moments, your emotions decide who you truly are. Not your intelligence, not your strength, not your money, your status, or your words. Just one thing: your ability to remain calm while the world burns. Because when you lose control of your emotions, you hand over your power to anger, to fear, to pride, and to the chaos that feeds on your reaction. But the one who can stand still while others panic, rage, or collapse becomes untouchable. That is what the ancients meant by mastery of the self. That is true power. Scene 2. The hidden weakness. Let's be honest. Most people are slaves to their emotions. Someone says something disrespectful, and you react. You feel ignored, and you crave attention. You fail once, and you drown in shame. We think these are normal reactions, but they're not. They're habits of the untrained mind. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He understood that the greatest prison is not built from stone. It's built from our emotional impulses. Every outburst, every desperate attempt to be right, every grudge you carry, it's a small surrender. Piece by piece, you trade your peace for control and end up losing both. Modern psychology calls this emotional reactivity. It's the tendency to respond immediately to emotional triggers without reflection. It's what makes us lash out in anger or spiral into anxiety. But the Stoics, thousands of years ago, had already diagnosed it. They didn't suppress emotion, they transcended it. They saw emotion as a wave. You can't stop it from coming, but you can learn to surf it. Scene 3. The fire within. Imagine a soldier standing before an enemy line. He can feel his fear rising, his body trembling, his mind screaming to run. But he doesn't move. He breathes. He observes the fear without letting it dictate his next move. That's emotional control. And it's not about cold detachment. It's deliberate strength. It's fire under control. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor-philosopher, ruled the Roman Empire during plagues, wars, and betrayal. And in his private writings, he confessed how much he struggled with anger, frustration, and loss. But he always returned to one idea: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wasn't preaching serenity from comfort. He was reminding himself, amid chaos, that power lies in perception, that control begins within. Scene 4. The emotional trap. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We're taught to chase control over everything except ourselves. We try to control people, money, timing, luck. But the only thing truly within our grasp is our own state of mind. And yet, that's the one thing we neglect. You can't control how others treat you. You can't control when life decides to collapse. But you can control how you interpret it, and that changes everything. That's not weakness. That's power in its purest form. Because emotional control is not about feeling less. It's about choosing what deserves your emotional energy. It's the art of responding, not reacting. When you react, the world dictates who you are. When you respond, you decide who you will be. Scene 5. The psychology of power. In modern psychology, emotional regulation is considered one of the key markers of high emotional intelligence. It determines success more than IQ. It shapes relationships, leadership, and resilience. But the Stoics, the Buddhists, and even Nietzsche understood this centuries earlier. Nietzsche called it the discipline of the will. He believed strength wasn't measured by dominance over others, but by dominance over the self. He wrote, "He who cannot command himself must obey." And that's the harsh reality. If you don't master your emotions, you'll obey them, and they'll drag you where they please. Look at the world. Outrage has become entertainment. Anger is currency. People post their pain, compete in victimhood, and call it authenticity. But what if authenticity isn't sharing every emotion you feel, but learning which emotions deserve to be seen at all? Scene 6. A story of stillness. There's an old story about a samurai who approached a monk. The samurai demanded, "Teach me about heaven and hell." The monk looked at him and laughed. You're too stupid to understand." The samurai's face turned red with rage. He drew his sword and raised it to strike. And the monk calmly said, "That, Tabri, is hell." The samurai froze. He lowered his sword, ashamed. The monk smiled. "And that is heaven." Heaven and hell are not places. They are states of mind, moments we enter depending on how we control our emotions. Anger creates hell. Understanding creates heaven. Scene 7. The modern battle. Today, emotional control is harder than ever. Every device, every algorithm, every notification is designed to hijack your emotions. Fear, outrage, envy, they sell. Calmness doesn't. So if you can stay composed in a world that profits from your chaos, you'll become something rare. A calm mind in a noisy world is a revolutionary act. That's why emotional control is not suppression, it's rebellion. It's choosing to be unmoved by manipulation. It's standing still when everything else trembles. The modern warrior doesn't carry a sword. They carry silence. They carry awareness. They carry patience, the weapon of the wise. Scene 8. The Inner Empire. Machiavelli once said, "The one who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers 1,000 in battle." Because the hardest empire to rule is the one inside your own mind. You can't lead others if you can't lead your emotions. You can't find peace if you're at war with yourself. And every time you let anger win, you strengthen your enemy. But every time you pause, reflect, breathe, you reclaim territory. This is the unseen battlefield of life, and most people don't even know they're fighting it. Scene 9. The price of power. Here's the paradox. To control your emotions, you must first allow yourself to feel them fully. You can't master what you avoid. You can't transform what you deny. So when pain comes, face it. When fear comes, watch it. When anger rises, listen to what it's trying to protect. Emotional control isn't resistance, it's understanding. It's the moment you realize that emotions aren't enemies, they're signals. But signals aren't commands. You feel them, but you don't follow them blindly. That's what separates the calm from the chaotic, the wise from the impulsive, the powerful from the lost. Scene 10. The ultimate power. In the end, the ultimate power is not to control others, it's to control your reaction to them. The strongest person in the room is not the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who doesn't need to. Because silence speaks louder when it comes from strength. Because stillness is louder than rage. And because peace, real peace, terrifies those who live in chaos. You become unshakable, not when life gets easier, but when your emotions no longer dictate your direction. That is the highest form of freedom. That is the mark of true strength. That is emotional control, the ultimate power.